In 2022, the commissioner of the PGA Tour stood in front of reporters and said something simple. Any golfer who defected to Saudi Arabia's new league would never be welcomed back. For over a year, that was the official position of the most powerful body in professional golf. 14 months later, that same commissioner announced the PGA Tour was merging its entire commercial operation with the very Saudi fund he had just called a threat to the sport. Some players found out from Twitter before their own commissioner told them. Golf was never the only place this was happening. The same country bought a Premier League football club, reshaped boxing, took over tennis events, won hosting rights to the World Cup. Why? And why, in 2026, did it suddenly start pulling money out of some of these same deals? The first sign came in October 2021. Saudi Arabia's public investment fund, the country's sovereign wealth fund, chaired by Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, took an 80% stake in Newcastle United. It wasn't the first attempt. The same takeover had been blocked 2 years earlier over concerns about how much control the Saudi state would actually have. When it finally went through, Amnesty International called it, quote, a very clear attempt by the Saudi authorities to sportswash their appalling human rights record. The murder of journalist Jamal Khashoggi in 2018, an operation US intelligence concluded the Crown Prince himself approved, was still fresh. In 2022, Saudi Arabia launched LIV Golf. It paid golfers enormous sums to defect. Phil Mickelson, Dustin Johnson, Bryson DeChambeau, and eventually John Rahm all signed. By early 2026, the PIF had put more than $5 billion into LIV Golf, and it was still losing money. Nearly $500 million in 2024 alone. Which makes the events of June 2023 stranger. Jay Monahan, the same commissioner who'd spent a year telling players LIV defectors would never return, announced the PGA Tour, the DP World Tour, and the Saudi PIF would merge their operations into one entity. Players found out from Twitter first. One texted, mid-meeting, "It's spicy in here." Monahan didn't dodge it. "I recognise that people are going to call me a hypocrite," he said. "I accept those criticisms." 3 years later, that merger still hasn't closed. The original deadline, December 31st, 2023, came and went. Golf was just the opening move. Then, football. The PIF took direct ownership of 4 Saudi Pro League clubs, signing Cristiano Ronaldo, Karim Benzema, and Neymar in deals worth more than $1 billion combined. Then, boxing. Saudi Arabia paid to host Tyson Fury against Alexander Usyk in 2024, the first fight to unify the heavyweight title in 25 years. Then, tennis. Rafael Nadal signed on as an ambassador, and the WTA finals moved to Riyadh. Then, esports. A Saudi-owned company bought the 2 largest tournament organisers on the planet and merged them into one. Golf, football, boxing, tennis, esports, in under 3 years. Most people think they already know why Saudi Arabia did all of this. They don't, not completely. The explanation everyone reaches for first is sportswashing, using sport to improve a country's reputation and draw attention away from its human rights record. That record is genuinely serious. Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch have documented executions after unfair trials and the imprisonment of peaceful critics. A 2024 investigation estimated that more than 21,000 migrant workers died in Saudi Arabia between 2017 and 2024. though not all of those deaths have been directly linked to workplace accidents. But researchers who study this closely argue that stopping at sportswashing is too simple, that it can obscure a second, more practical motive. Vision 2030. Launched in 2016, it's Saudi Arabia's plan to diversify its economy away from oil, which still makes up around 40% of GDP. Sport is one of its named pillars. Tourism, event hosting, revenue that has nothing to do with oil prices. And by the measure that matters most to the fund doing the spending, it's working. The PIF's own assets grew from around $192 billion in 2016 to over $900 billion by 2024. Sport was never just about reputation. It was also the machine generating the capital for everything else Vision 2030 needed to build. Which makes 2026 genuinely strange. Saudi Arabia hasn't stopped spending on sport, but it has started being far more selective about where the money goes. The PIF sold 70% of Al Hilal, one of its own football clubs, to a company owned by Saudi royalty. A bid to host the 2035 Rugby World Cup was quietly abandoned, and LIV Golf's own leadership has reportedly been told they could lose their jobs, with funding only guaranteed through the end of the current season. PIF Governor Yasir Al-Rumayyan was asked directly why. His answer, "We continuously reassess our priorities." Analysts point to several overlapping causes: regional instability, competing demands from Vision 2030's own megaprojects, a broader financial reassessment across the Gulf, not one single dominant reason. One Middle East analyst summarised it simply: the PIF was always, first, a vehicle for Saudi Arabia's own transformation. Sport was part of that story, but when priorities shift, capital moves closer to home. Newcastle, for now, has reportedly been told it's unaffected. So why did Saudi Arabia buy into global sport? Not for one reason. It sought legitimacy after Khashoggi. It saw an economy that doesn't collapse when oil prices fall. And it bought a seat at tables, golf, football, boxing, it could never have built its way into. For 5 years, the answer to why was simple: because it could afford to. In 2026, for the first time, it's choosing what it can no longer afford. Nations used to measure their power in oil fields and militaries. This one is learning to measure it in stadiums. Every week, Apex Archives investigates the real stories behind the world's biggest institutions, the power, the money, and the questions nobody answered. Subscribe if this was worth your time.